there are things that you want now. There are things that your ego wants now and your ego is not bad, but there are things that it wants and you want right now that is not conducive to where you're going. It's not conducive to the plan that is already in place, your destiny. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Limitless Conversation with Sean. I am so excited. If you are new here, then let me tell you a little bit about this podcast. In this podcast, I talk all about my personal life, personal experience, how I connect with the people around me. In season 2, you guys will see more of my friends, and maybe even in season 1, we'll see where the good Lord leads us. But in this podcast, I talk all about my personal life, personal development, how I am expanding my consciousness, and I'm all about being limitless, right? But in order to be limitless, you must understand your limits. So here in this setting, in this safe space that we've created, we are talking about evolution. And the beautiful thing about life is that we all connect. So things that I go through, I'm sure that you've been through, or you know someone who's been through it, right? Maybe you're not going through it, maybe a friend has been through it, right? Or the way that I view things, we can all connect. Or maybe you hate it so much that it brings you more to how you connect. Doesn't really matter. It's all about getting the conversation started. There are always infinite possibilities, infinite ways of thinking, infinite ways that things can happen. The possibilities are truly limitless. And that is what I'm here that's what I'm here to talk about. Because when we understand that, our minds get to open up. And today, my mind really got to open up. So let's just go ahead and hop straight into this conversation. All right. So, like I say, every podcast, it always starts with a story because, experiencing life is the thing that brings us into more and more understanding of ourselves and the people around us and how we navigate and attract and so forth and so on. So, yesterday for the first time I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having anxiety. Now I've spoke about in a previous episode that, like, I've never experienced anxiety until 2 years ago. And then my experience with anxiety, that's a whole episode in itself. Maybe that'll be the next one. But I had never experienced it, started experiencing it. I went to therapy, did a lot of understanding, a lot of those emotions come up and understand them. And then I really haven't had it recently. But yesterday, or maybe this was like a few days, like this was actually 4 days ago, I was eating blueberries and I just was like, I'm gonna get one. And then I just started chugging down these blueberries. And I know you're probably like, okay, Sean, why do we care about that? It's significant because blueberries were a huge, huge thing for me when I had anxiety. I would literally go through like a carton, like a pint of blueberries a day. I would just eat them because they were the thing that helped my body. I don't know, I think I looked it up and blueberries ended up being something really good for anxiety, but or for your heart. But yeah, I was chugging them down. So when I ate a blueberry or two and then I just kept having the desire to eat more, I listened in because my body always tells me what I need, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing. And so that was an indicator for me that went off like, oh, okay, maybe I need to check in and ask myself, how am I really doing? The thing is, sometimes when you understand how life works and you understand that, like, when you understand, like, you have this inner wisdom and knowing, sometimes you kind of use that as a mask over how you're feeling because you understand it's for a greater purpose, or you understand this is why it's happening. That's cool and all to understand why it's happening, but sometimes you need to just sit in how you feel. And yesterday, I just sat in how I felt. And it was so many thoughts. So how did I start? It was yesterday. I was, out driving, I was navigating in my mind. Like, I had so many racing thoughts. A lot of the thoughts were centered around judgment of myself. Okay, so one of the ones that we're going to talk about today, that I was really going back and forth with, is my apartment and my next place that I'm going to move to, and what are going to be my next moves, and what's next for me in life, and what does this next chapter look like for me. And a lot of the shame and guilt that I have around, like, my failure here, and if you're not watching, I'm putting air quotes around failure now, but my failure here, because I had a perception of how this was all going to go. I was going to get this apartment. I was going to be on my own. I was going to focus on my business. I was going to have the space to create and to make this brand and this business, and to have space for my inventory, and just everything is going to be amazing once I get there. And then I got here, and with that in mind, I failed because I didn't get here and my business thrived. I didn't get here and I was consistent with my content. Me being here did not affect any of that. And so in that scope, I failed. Also, let's be honest, and this is kind of hard. And I prayed over my throat and said, let me be able to speak because, child, ego is a thing and pride is a thing. But I failed financially here. I was like, my, spirit will bring through everything I need, and my branding business will just boom. And if you're watching, I'm like holding my throat because I'm like, sending energy as I speak my truth, because this is like kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of embarrassing, and there is some shame around it, right? The only way to, anyway, we're not gonna go into that. You see how I'm about to rationalize it? Yeah. So anyway, um, being here, I had failed financially. I wasn't responsible. I had gotten many indicators like being here that, Sean, this is going on with branding. You're almost at the end of your budget. You're almost at the end of your maximum. You're almost at the end. It is now time to blow up the boat and create an evacuation plan. It is time to get a job. It's time to move out. It's time to promote more. Whatever it is, it's time. It's time. And I had every indicator come through, and I ignored every single one of them. There's this story that my mom always talks about, and I guess it's in the Bible. Don't get me to lie, and I'm gonna misquote it, I'm sure. But the idea of the message is that there's a guy on a boat, and he's in the middle of the ocean, and he's like, and someone comes to save him, and he's like, no, I'm going to wait because Jesus is gonna come and save me. And then someone else comes in, no, I'm going to wait because Jesus is gonna come and save me. And then someone else comes in, like, no, I'm going to wait, Jesus is gonna come and save me. And then the man drowns. And then he's like, he gets to heaven and he asks Jesus, why didn't you save me? And Jesus said, well, I sent all three of those people, right? So universe, source, my higher self, God, however you want to identify it as all, because the all is the same thing at the end of the day, same energy. The being of myself, the being that's around me, the energies that are around me, whatever it is, I got plenty of messages on when. I was told 2 months before all this even happened, you need to start looking for apartments. I was told. I didn't listen. I was told 4 or 5 months ago to get a job. Who knows, if I would have got a job, I would have been able to stay more afloat, right? I ignored the lifeboats that was being sent out to me to make this work. I was told, get your business credit together. I ignored it. I didn't listen. And so in that way, I have felt myself. Let's be honest, in that way, I felt myself when it came to listening to all the messages, all the indicators that came to save me. I didn't listen. And so when I look at my place here, thank you for allowing me to speak and share that. Sorry, I'm giving myself and spirit honor because that was, I'm not gonna lie, a little difficult to share, but it happened with ease, and I'm grateful. Um, yeah, so yesterday in my mind, with all of my shame of me failing, all of my guilt, all of my embarrassment that I did not fulfill what I thought I would fulfill here, and that I didn't listen. Really and truly think that I'm the most embarrassed about that I didn't listen. I didn't listen when I got the indicators, but I didn't know, right? And that's not what we're going to go into now, because we'll get into rationalizing it and working everything out and the bigger picture of it all, right? We'll get into that. But I didn't listen. And so there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt that I carry about my first apartment, and me potentially feeling like, oh, I reached too high. I reached too high for the sky. And then there also came in frustration with God, with source, with the universe, with my high self. Why would you give me something that I couldn't maintain? Why would you give me this if you should have known I wasn't going to listen? That's what I said. I was talking to my on the phone the other day, and I was like, why would you give me this? You know I wasn't gonna listen. You should know me well enough to know I wasn't gonna listen, right? Why'd you give me this when you knew I couldn't maintain it? When you weren't gonna give me the resources to maintain it? I was frustrated. I was irritated, and I was looking for everyone to blame and everything to blame. When in fact, I was given the tools. I was given the tools to succeed here. I didn't pick them up and use them. So now I'm at this place where, okay, cool. That project, that way, that thing that how you thought that was going to work, that didn't work out. But there's multiple paths that are going to ultimately all bring you to your destiny, baby. It's going to all bring you there. So yesterday I had all of my turmoil in my head, all the things going on in my mind about my judgment. Okay, speaker. Sorry if y'all heard that. But my judgment and all that kind of stuff just going on in my head. And there was just so much mind fog. And My chest was hurting a little bit, and I'm like, oh god. So I went to the store, got me some blueberries, ate those, made some dinner because food. I'm definitely an emotional eater for sure. So I'm like, I need to get something clean because food is gonna give you that temporary happiness, that temporary shot of like a dopamine fix, endorphins or whatever the right word is. It's gonna give you that temporary joy. So I'm definitely an emotional eater. So I got blueberries. Okay, good. Round of applause for blueberries, child, because I could have got a Mexican pizza from Taco Bell. I'm gonna get one today though. But I'm fine today. I'm fine today. So yes, moving on. So I had all that turmoil in my mind yesterday, right? This is all pending I'm sorry, this is also part two last week. If you haven't seen last week, I would highly encourage listening to last week or watching last week, whichever platform you decide to do, because this is kind of a continuation because I was telling you guys about the apartment and how the apartment became available, right? So I went ahead and I applied. Hello. I mean, that's what we're all waiting for, right? So I went ahead, applied, and yeah, I had just been waiting on hearing back. So I have all my thoughts going through my head because I have this impending thing over me. I have this thing over me, like what's going to happen. I don't know, and it's out of my hands. I don't have any more control over it. I've done all that I could do. I have been showing up for the last few months, but I did all that I could do at this point, and now it's out of my hands, it's in the hands of source and spirit. And I did pray. I will say I prayed over this thing, and I said, Spirit, if this is not the right move to bring me to where I want to go. Even though I don't believe in right and wrong moves, but if this is not aligned with the best path for me, don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. Know me better than I know me. Excuse me, know me better than I know me. And we're going to get into that in a moment. So, yeah, all the thoughts in my head yesterday, went to sleep, woke up this morning. I felt immense peace. Even with everything happening yesterday, I woke up today and I felt so calm. There was this calmness over me. There was this quietness over my life. Everything was just very still and very like mellow. And I journaled this morning. And I might share a little bit from my journal today, but I journaled this morning and there was so much clarity. This was God's voice. This was my higher self's voice. This was the highest vibrating version of me's voice talking to me, because I learned that that voice talks to me, and hope you guys can't hear that, but I learned that that voice talks to me in the quiet. That voice talks to me, um, not in chaos and fear. There was just this very calmness that came over me. And I journaled this morning. I talked about the thoughts that I had yesterday, and I checked it. Hey, are you okay? I wrote this. Hey, I just want to check. Are you okay? To myself, writing that to myself, and I'm like, I'm okay, but these are all the things that I'm thinking, and that I was feeling, and let's sort through them. What do they mean? Let's be honest about them. And so I finished journaling, really good morning, opened up my email. You've not been approved for the apartment. And I saw that email, and oddly enough, there was a sigh of relief. There was this that came over me after being denied this thing that I want so much, that I want, air quotes if you guys aren't watching, so much. Why am I sighing relief after being denied this thing that I've been trying to manifest and wanting so bad? Well, I knew me well enough to pray that prayer. I knew me well enough to say, if this is not what's in the realm of my highest and greatest good, don't give this to me. Because if you give it to me, my ego will take it. And what I will say is that regardless, I know that I was going to make it to my destiny, because now the frame of mind that I'm in, I'm going to get there. I've already seen the vision of my life. I've already seen what I'm going to do, who I'm going to be. I've seen it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you start moving towards it, oh, you can't stop. You're going to keep going. So I know that even if I got the apartment, I was going to get to my goal. I was going to work even harder. But the sigh of relief came in because now I'm going to have more breathing room. Let's get a little bit into that. I'm going to take a moment, a pause, and then we're going to hop right into that conversation. Pause for the cause. I know the conversation is getting really, really good, and we're about to get into some really juicy details and understandings. Juicy understandings. I like that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're about to get into that. But before we get into that, I want to do a quick check-in and I want to ask you guys, how are you? How the hell are you doing? And I want to encourage you guys for another journal prompt to write in your journal, how am I doing? Or how are you doing? You can write, how are you doing? Because when you're reading it to self. And I want you to genuinely, without rationale, please ask yourself. And I even had to look it up. I Googled, give me feeling words. I didn't ask you, I was listening to this book yesterday, Master Your Emotions, and he said, when you ask someone, how do you feel about reading this book? I think this book will really help me. I feel like this book will really help me. That's not how you feel. That's your rationale. That's your logical thinking. You feel excited to read the book because you feel like this, but you feel excited. So when I challenge you to ask yourself, how am I doing? I challenge you to maybe write 3 to 5 emotions. How am I feeling? Because our masculine mind can often jump in and navigate when we ask that question and try to rationale and logicalize. I made that up. Logicalize these thoughts that we're having. I'm not asking you what you're thinking. I'm asking you how you're feeling. So today I encourage you in your journal to write, how are you doing today? And do an honest self check-in with how you're doing, how you're feeling. And then you can get into all the logical stuff, but first address how you feel and why you feel that way without trying to band-aid cover it, without trying to say, but this is why this is all for my greater good, or don't band-aid it. The raw, honest truth. Can I share a little bit? Let me share a little bit. Actually, I think I'll, I think I'm gonna keep it. But what I will say for my words today, I wrote disgusted and ashamed. Those are my feeling words today. That's how I felt. Disgusted and ashamed. Then I had to explore why that was. Where'd that come from? How does it feel to feel like that? All right. So, all right, let's hop back into the rest of this conversation. There are things that you want now. There are things that your ego wants now. And your ego is not bad, but there are things that it wants and you want right now that is not conducive to where you're going. It's not conducive to the plan that is already in place. Your destiny, these things, it's like, think about you're on a road trip, right? But there's all these pit stops and these detours where you can go and you can explore and you'll have a good time, but it's going to take you longer to where you're going to go. Now, I'm an avid person of taking detours, because at the end of the day, we're here to explore, right? And that's part of it. Sometimes we're going to take detours. Sometimes we're going to stop off and get gas and get stuck in there buying what are those snacks that we get inside? Golden cheeses, child. Y'all been to the South, they got golden cheeses, not Cheez-Its. You're going to stop at the store to get some golden cheese, enjoy your snack for a moment, take a little bit, and then hop back on your journey. That's how it goes sometimes. We can't always have it perfect and have it right. And in this season of my life, I'm embracing me having flaws. I've kept a very perfect persona for a very long time. A very long time. Perfect daughter, perfect girlfriend, perfect sister. I've kept on that persona for a very long time. And in this season of mine, I am embracing the fact, and I'm here on this platform when I am in one of my most imperfect states. But it's important because it's fine, because I know where I'm going. I know that the situation I'm talking to you guys about is not my situation forever. This ain't the end of my destiny. This ain't the end of my story. This is not the end here. So, and it might seem like it's this simple thing about an apartment, right? Everything is relative at the end of the day. The way that I experience pain and hurt and the way that you experience is going to be different based on our journeys, based on, I believe in multiple life cycles. I believe in all based on what we want to learn here. I believe in soul contracts. So they're going to be different, but at the root, it's the same. So this was a situation of me learning what my ego wants and me learning what my higher self knows that I need. My higher self knew that I didn't need that apartment right now. Why, Sean? Why didn't you need that apartment? I didn't need that apartment because this is what that apartment meant to me. This apartment meant to me I was going to have this pretty large bill of rent. What did that mean? I told myself I wasn't gonna do what I did here again. I wasn't gonna get an apartment and not have a full time job, a secure income. I wasn't gonna do that again. So me getting that place meant that I was gonna go back to work full time for somebody else. Right now I am Ubering, but there's flexibility there, right? Like I could be Ubering right now, but I'm not. I'm not set to a schedule. I make my own. So I was gonna have to get a full time job. And I was still going to be planning on driving Uber on the side because my full time job was just to pay my rent. And I still wanted to live a life. And then I was still going to be Ubering on the side because I wanted play money. I wanted to be able to shop. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to be able to start new adventures and take on new hobbies. I needed money to fund that because I did also decide that I'm still going to have a life outside of work and I'm just going to continue having my social life, right? But that all that meant that I was going to have to work a lot harder to continue to keep the money in to fund that life, to fund that apartment, keeping in mind that I do plan on going back to school. I am starting this podcast. I am going to full time create content. And so, while yes, I am capable of doing all of those things, and I was willing to. My higher self knows that that is really not the path I should be taking because maybe I would be a little bit more high strung. Maybe I would be a little bit more stressed out. So, when I say that I got to deny and I went, it's almost like, what's the thing that's coming to me? It's almost like, oh my gosh, what is the situation? It's like it's like when you know you don't need something, but you know you have nah, for real. You know you have an addiction to it, and it's like them telling you it's out of stock. So it's like, say you had this goal to, like, I don't know, say $200, but a new pair of Jordans is coming out and they $200, and like that, like, you trying to save $200, but these Jordans just came out and like you can't help but try to get those Jordans, but then the Jordans go out of stock. And it's like, whew, well, thank God, because Lord knows I need to save that $200. That's how the situation is for me. Is like, I know my vices. My vices is nice apartments, nice places. And granted, this was a better deal than I was in, but the timing wasn't right. The timing wasn't right. Me trying to orchestrate all that I'm trying to orchestrate and move into a new place by the top of January. I mean, by January, that timing on that wasn't good because I needed more time, but it became available, so I went for it. So the sigh of relief was, whew, goodness, thank you for saving me from myself. Thank you for saving me from myself. Because if that thing became available when I was approved, I was going to move in there and I was going to find a way to have it all because I believe I can have it all. So I was going to work it out. But this case scenario means that, oh, I don't have to go to work somewhere else full time. Oh, okay. Wow, a lot of lives are in danger today. Yeah, cool. Lots of confirmation, I suppose. All right. Yeah. Yeah, this means that, oh, okay, I don't have to go and work a full time job so I can pay my rent. Because y'all live in a very expensive area to live in. Okay. I don't have to go work full time to pay my rent. Whew, cool. Now I'm gonna be paying wherever I go. I'm gonna be paying something, but it's gonna be smaller because it's not gonna be necessarily my own space, right? There's options of where I'm gonna go and what I'm gonna do. And we'll talk about that maybe at some point. But yeah, the options are cheaper than my own place. So, I don't have to do that. Oh, okay. That's the 40 hours I was gonna be at a full time job, and plus the additional 5 or 6 hours. That's a lie. I'm sorry, not 5 or 6, because I was gonna do full time Sunday, which is 8 hours. I was gonna do after work some days. Yeah, the 15 to 20 hours extra that I was gonna go and do on the road. I get to have that time to myself. I'm still gonna go out and drive and make money because I still have to fund my life and have a living. And there's so much more content I also want to bring here, um, to my platforms, to my social media, to my all that. There's so much stuff I want to do still that's gonna require me to have money, but I don't have that larger bill that's gonna take up 60% of that money, right? 40% of that, whatever it is, that's gonna take up a large chunk of it. Now, sigh of relief. I don't have to go through that. And so when I say that the message today is that sometimes your higher self knows better than you right now knows. You right now sometimes doesn't have the strength or the insight or the understanding or the maturity heavy on the maturity to make the decisions that you need to make for where you want to go. And so when I prayed over that apartment, I had already come to terms with the fact that I probably wasn't going to get it because in my inside of my, and that's why I had peace already, but peace before when I got that news, because I already knew that I wasn't supposed to do that. Not that I'm not supposed to ever do it, just not that soon. I need a few months to really get back on my feet after what I did here, after the time that when I say what I did, like I murdered somebody's child, after what happened here, right? And me like bringing myself down and depleting myself so much, you know, I learned that I know now that I need some time to recoup. I need this period to recoup before I'm ready to go off and sail again. Nothing is wrong with falling down and getting back up again. What's that song? We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. Okay, wow, I love that. I just got, let's change fall down because we're not falling down. We're having, the view is different. The view is just different. So I'm taking a different view of the world, of my life, because there's so much beauty in where I'm going now. Because I didn't get that place. So now my mind's open. Okay, that money that I was gonna spend on rent, maybe I can go and travel because I've been fiending for a trip. And didn't I pull that card? Yeah, I don't know what conversation that was. I think that was the first one. That was episode 1. Yeah, plan a vacation. I'm gonna have extra funds now, so you know what I can do? I can plan a vacation. Thank you, motorcycle. I'm gonna have extra funds now. I can. Y'all probably can't even hear these noises I'm hearing, but I'm just making sure. I have extra funds now. Oh, I can take that pole dancing class I've been wanting to take to tap into my divine feminine energy. Oh, cool. Now I'm going to have more funds now. I can learn Spanish like I've been wanting to. Oh, cool. I'm going to have more funds now. I can buy a second mic to my podcast and work on my setup. Oh, cool. I'm going to have funds now. I can maybe work more on a theme song. This is what I'm saying is sigh of relief, because now the world is my fucking playground. Versus that reality version that I wanted, my ego really wanted, because I wanted it because it feels like it's where I'm supposed to be. It feels like it's where I'm supposed to be. And it's also where I know I deserve to be. Let me not get it twisted, baby. I know I deserve to be there, and I know I will be there if I want to still go there. Who knows where I'm gonna be in a few months? I might be beyond that place, but if I want to still go, I know I deserve that. So this is not saying that I'm never going to have those things. It's just saying that right now is not the time. Right now, Sean, focus on this. Focus on building your platform. Focus on funding it. Thank you. Invest your money in this. Don't invest your money in that apartment right now. Yeah, you were going to go to that. Yeah, I was going to go to that apartment. I was still going to invest in this. I was going to invest 20%, maybe 30%, maybe. Oh, but now I can invest 80%. Now I can invest 70%. I want your investment to be somewhere else. I don't want you I know you want that, and you're going to get it. But this is your foundation right here. This is the thing. You have to, I look at how I felt being in having the apartment. I felt like I was holding my breath. Like I was setting myself up for failure again. So when it's like, no, you didn't get it, it's like, yeah. All right. Now I see all the limitless potential. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna go into the possibilities of what I think that this could mean. But I will say that I'm happy about it because my higher self had to save me from myself today. So what I want to remind you today is that sometimes your ego wants things that sometimes you today and your ego today wants things that your higher self knows that it's not time for, or it might never be time for. It's not the right fit. And today I'm grateful that I had peace when I got that message and I acknowledge the sigh of relief. You ever wanted something that was bad for you and then God, universe, higher stuff, whatever, worked it out so you couldn't get it and you went, thank you for saving me from me? It could be a relationship. You know that man ain't no good for you. You know he ain't no good for you. Maybe he get locked up and go to jail, child. Maybe he finds someone else that he likes and don't want to be with you no more. Breathe out, because you knew that that situation wasn't any good for you, but you needed to be released from your own shackles. Maybe you want to stop smoking and drinking, but you're in the shackles of it. We gotta know our vices. I know my vice. Do you know your vice? Because when you know your vice, then you can ask to be child. You can ask the universe to help save you from your own self. Say you want to stop drinking, you want to stop smoking, right? But you know that that thing has a hold on you. You know that it's, you feel like you can't because you feel like it brings you peace. I feel like my house brings me peace. That's why I wanted it. You feel like that thing brings you peace, brings you sanity. Then next thing you know, you pinned up and you get pulled over, and now you got to go in some kind of program because now you have to stop because now you're being tested. You don't have a choice. Sometimes spirit's gonna take the option away from you. Sometimes we want things that's not the best for us because we don't always know where we're going. And it's not when we know. I wrote today, why do I know better but can't do better? Sometimes we know better but can't do better. That's real. Knowing is half the battle. The other half is making better decisions. But sometimes you can't bear everything at one time. Sometimes right now all I can do is know it, and I'm gonna need a little guidance from my spirit guides, my angels, and the powers beyond me, the versions of me, whatever. I'm gonna need a little assistance. I know it today, just need some help. See, the beautiful thing about life is you get these life lessons and they spread around your whole fucking life. It don't just work in that one sector. You learn discipline here, you can apply discipline everywhere. You learn how to love here, you can learn how to love everywhere. You learn you're worthy here, oh, you'll learn that you're worthy everywhere. That's how it works. So let me master this right here, right now. Let me master being disciplined here. Let me master hearing my voice here. Let me master all those things here, and I'll apply them everywhere else. But I leave you today with the encouragement that you totally got this thing called life. And if no one has told you today, you're awesome and you're limitless. And don't put yourself in that box. Understand your box, feel around your box, and then bust out that bitch. Okay. As always, you guys can follow me on all my social media. It is all at Authentically Sean. That's me. I didn't do my little welcome back, but it's okay. I'll get the flow of this thing here. This is new for me. So yeah, that's all. I love you guys. I hope you guys could expand with me today. I would love to engage with you guys and hear more about, what you all feel, what you all are thinking. If you were able to grow through this conversation, if you can relate, if you feel me, if this brought you closer to some answer for you, whether you agree or don't agree, I'm curious to hear. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week at another episode. Bye.